Now I'm 4 or 5 seconds from wildin', and we got 3 more days till Friday.
What is the deal, beautiful people? It is your boy Ramon in the building, and we are going to discuss the heavyweights, the Galaxy S6 and 6 Edge, and HTC's M9. Now, this is going to be a multi-part series just to keep everything nice and short. And we're going to split it up into a few different categories. First is going to be design. We're going to compare the design between the two. Then there's going to be the specs. We're going to see what's inside. Then we're going to go over the camera and see who's got the best shooter there. And then lastly, we're going to cover the features. So make sure you tune in to each video. And just for you guys out there who want it in podcast mode, there's going to be that one super long ass video. So enjoy that. Let's talk about the design first. So these phones come from two completely different places, and their stories on how they come into their own. It's very different. So I want to take a look at Samsung with the Galaxy S6 first. You know, the design of this is very, I want to say, surprising for somebody like me who's been following Samsung for a while. I mean, you know, they not only have they taken a lot of flack from the smartphone community, and they've also, when they get aggressive in their marketing, the way they go after Apple, it makes them stand out more for their non-premium premium devices. And what that means is Samsung's been known to be the king of plastic. And I mean, they're very well designed devices. We're talking way back to the Galaxy S2. Very beautiful devices, plastic or not. But when you stack them up against the competition, you know, for years now, the iPhones of the world and the HTC Ones, it always seemed to fall flat in your hand, that premium feel. And that's something that I feel like it's part of Samsung's DNA at this point, where they just say, no, you know, we're going to do what we're going to do with plastic phones and plastic designs, because we have a method to the madness behind it. And then the Galaxy Note 4 arrives, and you know, that's got less plastic, more metal, and it's like, whoa, okay, something's changing. And then here you have the Galaxy S6, and then flat out the 6 Edge. These things are made entirely of metal and glass, and they are indeed beautiful. Now, you know, it's hard for me to say I'm fond of the design. For face value, these are indeed Samsung devices. So you've got the two to the top of the device. You've got the 2 dots with the 1 line bar for the speaker, for the speakerphone, and then you've got the front facing camera, and then on the bottom you've got that menu button to the left and the back button to the right, and that now famous, I would like to say hideous, protruding home button. You know, these are things that make a Samsung, and very little bezel, you know, very little wasted space. Samsung's been doing some magic in the last few generations with really squeezing as much of a screen size as they can out of a form factor. So these things make it a Galaxy, but here, this thing is wrapped with glass in the front, Gorilla Glass 4 by the way, and then Gorilla Glass 4 on the back as well. So it gives it on the back this really shiny, real premium look right off the back, a reflective look. And from what I've been seeing, you know, a fingerprint magnet. And even with the Edge, I sort of really dig the silhouette of the Edge. Not because of what it stood for on the Note 4. It was a little weird on one side, but when you add the curved display or the curved edge of the display on both left and right sides, now this thing looks genius. I really like it. Of course, it's got the heart rate monitor on the back with the flash, and you got the protruding camera. But I think overall it's a very sleek and beautiful looking device. And I'm really excited to get this thing in my hand because I want to feel the premium of it. I want to feel something that I have not felt from Samsung in, I don't think, ever. And, you know, we're going to get into the topic of the sway away from plastic and what that means later on in the video. So let's take a look at HTC now. You know, when I mentioned that they're coming from two different stories, HTC has been, you know, they shocked the world with the design of the M7. That was a very beautiful design, and I still have my M7, and I adore that thing. Apart from the fact that I can't use a phone with a 4.7-inch display anymore, that phone is still a hell of a device. And then we graduated to the M8. That was last year's offering, and oh my God, what a piece of machinery. That thing was just, it was machined right. The curves were perfect. They were beautiful. The materials were, it was just, my God, it was a beautifully designed phone. You know, you had the placement of the HTC logo, the capacitive buttons, and I thought it was a dope design. And now is the M9. You see them making some small iterations, and I want to point out that this is less of a revolutionary device, more of an evolution, because there was a lot less wrong with the HTC M8 for them to really give a drastic overhaul in design. So you gotta kind of forgive them for that. But what I do like, I do think is dope at HTC is they went ahead and made some really distinct design choices where it mattered. So they move the power button from the top of the phone to the right of the phone, and this is a trend, and a rightful trend amongst the larger display phones, right? You've seen Apple did it, Nokia's done it. You just, it's hard to reach the top of the phone to turn on for the power button every time. And they got around that on the M8 by introducing the double tap to wake the phone. Now they just went ahead and put the power button on the right side, which is cool. They got rid of the volume rocker, so you have actually two separate buttons for the for the up and down. But also they added, I still can't figure out if it's the SD card slot or the SIM tray, but that's also on the right side. So the right side is if you look at it, it is a bit busy, more busy than I would like, but you know, some things gotta change. Also, you'll notice an extra chamfered band around the edges of the M9 that weren't present in the M8. And I listened to the chief design speak, and he said, you know, even he was dropping the hell out of his M8 because it was so slippery. And that was a problem. That M8 was a slippery bitch. And it's good to see them try to address this. So what they did was they went back and took some very stark and rigid lines from around the edges of the M7 and implemented them in the design of the M8. And that's what you see now in the M9. So it's really designed to help you hold on to the phone more. You know, I dig that they're thinking about these things. Now, also in the back, because they switched from the ultra pixel 4 megapixel camera to a new 20 megapixel camera, you sort of see that the camera module is also sticking out at the back, and this is something that you see in both the M9 and the Galaxy S6, is that protruding camera. Neither one looks really bad. I mean, you're talking to a guy who ran around with a Nokia Lumia 1020 for a year, and now I own a 1520, and that's got a little bit of a hump. So for all about functionality, I like these things, and I like that both these cameras are centered in the middle of the device, as opposed to something like the iPhone where the protruding camera is off to the left. So it just looks sloppy, and on a table it feels awkward. I really do like the designs. I like I like what both companies have done here to retain the identity of these devices. You know, the Galaxy looks like a Galaxy. I wish they would have found a way to get some front-facing speakers in there, but they didn't. And also on the HTC side, they retained the boom sound. It looks like an HTC One, very worthy of that M name. What I didn't like about the HTC M9's design is, if you look closely, there's still a lot of wasted space up top the screen and at the bottom of the screen. So up top there's a black bezel before you get to the metal, and then to the bottom where the HTC logo is, you know, that entire bar seems to be wasted space to me. I would have rather them put a capacitive buttons where that HTC logo is, because I feel like the on-screen buttons take away from the real estate of the device. But apparently there needed to be that black bar and the HTC logo is actually filament for where the boom sound speakers are. They had to do some sort of give and take there, but it's something you can forgive. In terms of what design really, which one's better, I feel like it's gonna be a tougher choice for the smartphone market this time around, because, you know, Samsung had it cornered in the design aspect, meaning they used a plastic design and it gave them some very, very real advantages. We're talking removable back, which means you get access to replace your battery. You get access for SD storage. The plastic allowed them to get the waterproofing rating. So if you wanted those features, then that plastic design was sort of it was a sacrifice you had to make. And if you wanted a premium device, you wanted a premium metal feeling, you wanted something that you were, accustomed to over at the Apple side, but you wanted Android, the M8 was the clear winner. But this time around, Samsung is putting a strong foot forward into the M9's territory of just glass and metal, and they're really shedding a lot of the advantages to that plastic body. So I feel like, the Samsung guy in the design department is gonna have a conundrum here. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know how this phone feels yet. I'm having a hard time saying one looks better than the other, but it's a draw for me. It really is a draw. And we're gonna get down to the features and what that means, but in terms of raw design, both are attractive. I feel like both companies did a good job at making sure these phones feel and look premium. I just want to thank you for coming through, checking us out. Also, links below to all of our various social networking outlets. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it, leave a comment, jump in, don't be shy, and always, please, make sure you subscribe for more.